Welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of Unleashing Innovation in Internal Digital Communications, our 7th edition. We had an amazing day yesterday, and I hope you will enjoy today as well. So we will start our day by Paul just making a short summary about yesterday, and then I will introduce our chairperson of today, and we will start the day.
Thank you very much, Victoria, and good morning, everybody. Hope you're all feeling well today. We have a few new faces in the room today as well, I noticed, so you're very welcome. So this might be particularly beneficial for you, but it'll be a very short recap of what was discussed yesterday, or at least sort of the key takeaways that we could put together. First of all, a shout out to Pete Johns. Is it Pete Johns? Pete's doing great updates on LinkedIn. Of the event, so I went through them all this morning, and that was really good. So basically, you've done the recap for me, Pete. Thank you very much. So some of the key things that came out of yesterday's discussions, panels, fireside conversations, etc. One thing, measurement and feedback. It featured really strongly. It's really top of mind for all of the communications leaders and teams that were discussing here yesterday. But particularly looking at value as the most important metric. I mean, it's not enough just to have lots of data. We need to move towards the insights. I think our colleague Tone from Danone, his sort of mantra, listen, learn, adapt, that is a constant sort of culture that's really leading in communications now. And I think from the technology side, which I'm involved in, we've still a long way to go to really, or some way to go to really be truly effective and supportive of communications teams to give the analytics that are really, really needed. Another aspect, I think, that came across in a lot of the presentations, and I see it also in our own customer community, is a real move towards leadership becoming much more accessible. So we saw it, for instance, Dennis's presentation from Yammer with the CEO out jogging with his dog. I know one of our customers from a very conservative, straight-laced sort of family legacy company in the UK. The CEO had his hair shaved live on their Teams company call, and he got himself a mullet during COVID, which was really a major cultural shift for that organisation apparently. But so that sort of authenticity is really coming out, and that was a very strong message through a lot of the presentations yesterday, was around authenticity. Sarah's and Heather's presentation from the BBC, you quoted somebody, I think her name was Lauren Griffiths, and she said something which I thought was a brilliant quote, that not being authentic is such a missed opportunity for connection. And I think that's really, that's definitely something I'll take away from here, from these 2 days. And I'll be looking into Lauren Griffiths a lot more as well, because I'd never heard of her before yesterday, so thanks for introducing me to her as well. So this is all linked to essentially nurturing belonging, the belonging that an employee feels, the connection an employee feels to the culture of their organisation, to their employer, to their fellow colleagues, that this is really something much more significant and substantive than just talking about engagement. And I think that was, a lot of panellists were nodding very assertively when we were talking about it's really about belonging and not about engagement. And also that, even a part of that is the whole culture of flexibility that's coming in now. And I liked one of the conclusions from the BBC presentation was that this culture of flexibility has led to a lot more agility in the organisation. So there's huge benefits being noted, huge pluses being carried on into the sort of, more or less post-COVID era. So by way of conclusion, I was left thinking yesterday as well, and maybe this be a discussion for another day or another panel, but is the term internal communications even relevant anymore? What does it even mean? Yesterday we saw some really interesting and innovative case studies Tanya's from LeasePlan about how they're using Instagram. So essentially, their employees have become content creators for each other, but also for their customer community. We looked at campaigns that have started internally in Shell and in Harvey, which are built around purpose to mobilize and rally employees, but then they're going outside to political stakeholders, to communities of customers, etc. We also saw the whole focus on change, for instance, that came up a lot. I mean, many of you, or some of you, even have the title in your jobs as head of change. And Gary, who talked to us from Vodafone, is himself focusing. He sees his job all about change communications, and then just focusing on really strong cultural issues like belonging, for instance. It goes a lot beyond and above the traditional remit or the traditional perception that people have of internal communications. So that's a question that I have no answer to. Is internal communications even the right phrase anymore? Does it even capture what we're all doing and the challenges we're all facing? So without further ado, I hand it back to Victoria to introduce Chair for day 2. And thank you all very much. Looking forward to this day very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. What an amazing summary.